The security footage from Santa Barbara Municipal Airport is grainy, but the timestamp is crystal clear. 3:14 a.m. A black SUV skids to a stop in a no parking zone. The driver stays inside, the passenger door swings open, and a figure stumbles onto the tarmac. It's Prince Harry, but this isn't the polished Duke from the magazines. He's in a grey t-shirt, sweatpants, and one sneaker untied. No suitcase, no security detail, just a single dark blue booklet. Clutched in his trembling hand, his British passport. Witnesses describe a scene straight out of a thriller. One tarmac worker, speaking anonymously, said, "He didn't look like royalty. He looked like a man running for his life." Harry raced toward a fueling Cessna, pounding on the hull, yelling at the pilot to take off. For years, rumours swirled about Harry wanting to leave the UK. But tonight the story flips. He's not escaping the palace, he's escaping Montecito. Sources say the mansion is on high alert, lights blazing, guards patrolling, but the master bedroom empty. And the reason for his midnight dash, according to a source close to the Sussex camp, Meghan allegedly sent a frantic text to her mother just minutes after Harry's car left the driveway. She wasn't worried about him, she was terrified about what he had found. It read, "He broke into the safe, he has the blue drive. Mum, it's over." To understand why a prince would flee into the night in sweatpants, we need to rewind 3 hours. The kids were asleep. Meghan was reportedly in the guest wing, editing a project. Harry, he was hunting. Insiders say he'd been planning a solo trip to the UK to see King Charles after a cancer diagnosis. But there was a problem, he couldn't find his passport. Rumour has it, Meghan keeps the family's critical documents in her hidden safe in the master closet, a so-called vault, requiring a biometric scan tonight. Whether by chance or mistake the safe was unlocked, Harry expected just to grab his passport and leave a note. Instead, he found something that didn't belong in a family safe, a metallic blue hard drive. A strip of masking tape across it bore familiar handwriting. Marcus Anderson, Meghan's closest ally and Soho House director. The label reads Soho Archive 2015-2018, do not delete. Curiosity turned to confusion, confusion turned to horror. Harry took the drive to his study, locked the door and plugged it into his laptop. What he saw wasn't a family photo album, it was a corporate-style database. Folder A, Istanbul account. Folder B, yacht, receipts. Folder C, target acquisition HE. Clicked on a file A, video, opened, timestamp June 2016, 1 month before their first date. There was Meghan sitting in a Soho House boardroom in Toronto. This wasn't the blushing humanitarian Harry thought. He knew she was clinical, calculated, holding a whiteboard marker, circling a photo of him. He's the mark, she said, desperate for a mother figure. Play up the Diana angle, hook him, and the brand value is infinite. Harry didn't scream, he didn't cry, he vomited. The romance, the courtship, the us against the world, it had all been a long con. A carefully orchestrated heist, and the stolen goods were his life. He ejected the drive, shoved it in his pocket, and ran. He knew instinctively if she found out he'd seen Folder C, he wouldn't leave the house alive. Now high above the Atlantic, in the pressurized cabin of the Cessna, Harry opened another folder. The Sandringham tapes file names made his blood run cold. Queen, Private, Summit, John 2020, William Kitchen, Argument, Charles, Financial Plea. He clicked on the one labelled with the Queen's name. Headphones on, crackle, then a voice soft, familiar, his late grandmother. I cannot give you half in half. Out, Harriet is dangerous. Then himself shouting, and the rustle of fabric. The microphone wasn't on him, it was on Meghan. His stomach dropped. She had worn a wire during the most painful private moment of his life. Not just recording, but archiving the family for leverage. The horror didn't stop there. A subfolder labelled Medical and Logistics contained emails between Meghan and a specialised prop studio in Los Angeles, the kind used for high-budget sci-fi films. Subject lines, month 4, silicone weight, adjustment, texture match, delivery date, prosthetic set. B. He opened an image. A side-by-side comparison of a prosthetic pregnancy belly next to a photo of Meghan at an engagement in Birkenhead. The crease in the coat, the way the fabric draped, engineered to perfection. Harry sank back in his leather seat, hands trembling. The secrecy around the births wasn't about privacy, it was about hiding the fact that the production schedule didn't match reality. Back in Montecito, the night was silent, but silence no longer meant safety. Meghan didn't call 911, she didn't alert her security team, she made one call to a Toronto number, Marcus Anderson, the transcript intercepted by the same signal breach that caught her earlier text reads like a masterclass in panic management. He has the archive. Meghan allegedly whispered pacing the room. He knows about the yacht, he knows about the audition tapes on the other end. Marcus went into damage control mode, track his phone, he ordered. If he brings that drive to London, if he hands it to William, we're finished, uninsurable, done. But Harry had finally learned the tradecraft of the people he lived with. Police reports later confirmed a shattered iPhone 14 Pro on the side of the 101 freeway near the Carpinteria exit. He had thrown the tracking device out the window at 60 mph. He had gone dark, realising she couldn't follow him physically. Meghan triggered Plan B. At 5:45 a.m, Emma call was logged with the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department and relayed to private medical contractors in the UK. The narrative was chilling and precise. A high-profile male aged 39 fled residence in a manic state off his meds, delusional. If located, do not approach, immediate psychiatric hold required. She wasn't just trying to stop him, she was trying to institutionalise him. She knew that if Harry landed in London with the blue drive, her reign would be over. But if he was intercepted at the airport, dragged away in a straitjacket, any claims about prosthetics or wiretaps would be dismissed as the ramblings of a madman. The Cessna screeched onto the wet tarmac at Farnborough Airport. 11 a.m. London time, grey, drizzling. Harry's heart hammered as he looked out the port window. 3 black SUVs were waiting near the jet bridge, but they weren't Royal Protection private security contractors. 2 paramedics. A man in a suit with a clipboard. Meghan's trap had worked. They're going to section me, Harry realised, gripping the blue drive until his knuckles turned white. The pilot opened the cabin door. Your Highness, the man in the suit called. Please come down slowly, we have a car ready to take you to a private clinic. Your wife is very worried I'm not going with you, Harry shouted from the top of the stairs. I am not on medication. The man signalled the paramedics. So please, we have a hold order. Don't make this difficult. It was a trap. Step down. And he vanished. Then a roar split the air from the service entrance. 4 armoured Range Rovers tore onto the tarmac, lights flashing, no private plates, crown plates. The SUVs boxed in. The private security team, 6 men, jumped out, submachine guns raised. At the centre stood a tall, broad-shouldered man in a trench coat, Ken Wharf, Princess Diana's former personal protection officer. A man Harry hadn't spoken to in years, but the only man he trusted enough to call from the air. Step away from the Prince, Wharf barked. The man with the clipboard stammered. We have a medical order from the Duchess out. Wharf snapped. The Duchess has no jurisdiction here. He flashed a badge embossed with the royal crest. This is British soil. That man is the son of the king. He is under the protection of the Crown. Wharf looked at Harry. Get in the car, sir. We're going to see your father. Harry sprinted down the stairs, dodging stunned paramedics, and dove into the back of the lead Range Rover. Safe. At last, the convoy tore through London streets, ignoring red lights. The car swung into the mall and the gates of Clarence House flew open. King Charles was waiting. Sources inside the palace described the scene as biblical. The prodigal son returning, not with a plea for money, but with a confession of high treason. Harry was ushered into the morning room. Charles stood by the fireplace, frail but upright. Queen Camilla was there too. Harry didn't bow. He walked straight to his father and placed the blue drive on the antique coffee table. It's not the press, Harry said, his voice cracking. It's her. The leaks, the book, the interviews. It was all scripted. And I have the script. A team of royal aides brought in a secure laptop. For the next 2 hours, the King of England watched. He heard Meghan recording private family dinners. He saw Soho House strategy sessions where she and Marcus mocked the monarchy as a fading brand to be stripped for content. But the video that broke the king came from September 2022, just 2 days before Queen Elizabeth died. Meghan, in the Montecito kitchen, speaking casually to her PR team. The old lady is fading when she goes. We launched the racism narrative. Immediately, Charles will be weak. We hit him while he's grieving. If we time the podcast right, we can delegitimize the coronation before he even puts the crown on. Charles turned away from the screen, shaking. This wasn't just a bad daughter-in-law, this was a foreign operative who had infiltrated his family to dismantle the institution from the inside. She wanted to destroy us, he whispered. Not because she was hurt, Charles whispered, his voice hollow, but because it was a business plan. Suddenly, the secure phone on the king's desk rang. An aide answered, then went pale. Your Majesty, TMZ has just published a statement from the Duchess. She claims Prince Harry is mentally unstable, violent, abusing substances. She's demanding full custody. King Charles rose to his feet. The frailty vanished in its place was the cold resolve of a monarch. "She thinks she's fighting a husband, Charles," said his voice dropping to a dangerous register. "She forgets she's fighting the crown," he turned to his. Private Secretary Get MI6 We are not issuing a statement. "We are issuing a warrant. The sun set over London, but the lights inside Clarence House burned brighter than they had in decades." While the world's media ran breathless headlines repeating Meghan's claims, an entirely different operation was unfolding behind closed doors. At 6:08 p.m. GMT, the British ambassador in Washington, D.C. delivered a sealed envelope to the US Department of Justice. Inside was a formal request the immediate securing of the Montecito residence as a crime scene involving international espionage against a head of state. The blue drive hadn't just exposed a bad marriage, it allegedly proved illegal recordings of private conversations with the late Queen and the sitting king, violations of the Official Secrets Act and US federal wiretapping laws. Back in California, the mood inside the Olive Garden mansion shifted from triumph to terror. Sources outside the gates report a convoy of black SUVs with federal plates pulling up. Not the local sheriff, the FBI. Meghan stood in the foyer, phone in hand, dialing Marcus Anderson. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." Marcus had gone dark. The network had cut the line. In London, Prince Harry stepped onto the steps of Clarence House clean-shaven in a suit. For the first time in years, he looked like a Windsor flashbulbs exploded as he approached the microphones and stared directly into the BBC camera. "For 6 years, Harry said, his voice steady. "I was told my family was the villain. I was told I was a victim. I was told I was saving the world." He paused. "I wasn't saving the world. I was funding a grift. But the money has run out, the scripts have been burned, and the blue drive is now in the hands of the authorities." He held up a document, copies of the 1917 letters patent concerning the custody of royal grandchildren. "My children are citizens of the United Kingdom. They are the grandchildren of the King," Harry said, "and I am coming to get them." Harry turned and walked back through the heavy oak doors, the sound of them slamming echoing through Clarence House. The simulation had ended. As the screen fades to black, one final image from the leaked dossier lingers, a text Harry sent to Meghan just seconds before stepping out to face the press. 3 simple words, 3 words that shatter the silence and announce the reckoning. Checkmate H.